About 9:49 this morning, we got dispatched for a structure fire at the intersection of Lonsdale and Hope Avenue. On my unit's first arrival, they had heavy fire and smoke showing from the residence. It's supposed to have been a vacant residence, but we don't treat any of them as vacant anymore. Just with the cold weather, we always want to make sure that everybody's out of the house. The house was so well involved that it took us a few minutes to actually push inside. We had to start on a defensive attack and then moved inside to start putting the fire out. And upon entry, we found one person at the bottom of the stairwell deceased. And then that's when we notified the coroner and South Carolina law enforcement to come out and help us with the investigation.
And you said that you came out here this morning, and you said I guess supposedly it's a vacant place. There was no one, I guess, listed here.
Right. According to the homeowner, it's been vacant about 10 years. But they said they've had people in and out of the house, trying to stay warm and somewhere for them to stay. And the original owner had passed away, and so another family member has been trying to keep the house boarded up and stuff, but people have just been getting in it over the last 10 years or so.
Okay. So I guess he was somebody who, I guess, just found a crack in the house and came in?
We feel pretty sure that it was somebody that's probably been staying in the house just to stay warm. Didn't have anywhere else for them to go, so this is where they were kind of staying. The neighbors had seen people in and out of the house about every day, come and going every day. I guess it was just no big deal. They kind of got used to it, I guess, but people were staying in the house pretty regular. Multiple people, sometimes 3 or 4 people a day, had been in and out of the house.
Did the house have any electricity or anything?
No electricity, no running water. It was actually disconnected back in 2010.
Okay. At this time, is it any reason, I guess, to think it was a suspicious fire? Or?
No, so we feel like they were probably had a fire going to keep them warm due to the cold weather last night. And at some point, that fire just got out and like I say, set the house on fire. And it appeared he was trying to get from the upstairs to the downstairs, and the fire was just too intense.
How long did it take you guys to, I know you said it was fully involved. How long did it take you guys to, I guess, knock this fire out?
It was probably a good 20 minutes or so for us to get it to where we felt comfortable enough to go in and start doing a lot of spot firing inside, putting stuff out. But probably a good 20 minutes, I guess, to get it knocked down good enough. It's an old, typical mill-type house where it's a lot of tongue and groove. The ceilings are tongue and groove, just very difficult to get in and pull and cut through. And so we had a pretty good fire in the house, and it had run through pretty much throughout the house on the first arrival of my first engine. So.
Okay, and as far as the individual, I know you probably can't give the name out at this time, but can you say it was a male or female in their age? Or
it was a male. We know it was a male subject, but we don't have any other information than that. The coroner's office is doing the investigation to try to determine who it is and an age and all on that individual.
Okay. And I guess with the holidays being so close, to hear a tragedy like this just 3 days from Thanksgiving,
it is. And we just the last few weeks, and we're still doing one. We're doing a big smoke alarm blitz with the state fire marshal's office, and this is one of the reasons why we're trying to do a lot of this, just especially for now with the cold weather, making sure people have these smoke alarms and can hear these things when they go off in the middle of the night. And it is, right now with the cold weather coming in, we do have a homeless population in the Seneca area, and they are looking for places to get warm when the shelter's full. So this probably is not the last time we'll deal with people inside vacant homes. I mean, it's kind of a normal occurrence, but we do still try to help whatever we can with these folks and try to get them a place to go. It's not always the safest place to be in a house with no power and water. So.
Okay. And I know you said you didn't have any electricity. Is there anything right now I guess you can point to maybe caused the fire?
No, that SLED's still doing the investigation. They're here now with the county fire investigation unit. They're still digging and looking just to try to determine point of origin and see if we can determine the cause. The house is still standing. It has just some heavy damage inside and in the attic area. Part of the roof burned off. So we're still trying to be real careful inside and making sure we watch what we're doing while we get in there and do the investigation.
And I know you said the house has been vacant for like 10 years, so I assume it didn't have any working fire alarms or anything like that?
Nothing inside, nothing that would have been anything to help them out of the house. The neighbors did say they had a fire going about every day in the fireplace. They could see the smoke. So we feel like that's probably going to be, could be one of the points where it could have come from, would have been the fireplace, but that's still to be determined by SLED and the county fire investigation team.
And I assume one of the neighbors alerted you guys that it was fire?
Yeah, we had a couple of 911 calls fairly quick. The house, you could see the smoke actually from downtown Seneca. When I left and come through the other side of town, I could actually see it from the other side of town. So by the time we got the call, it was already well involved in fire. It sits off the road just a little bit, so if you're not really looking, because the house has been abandoned so long, the yard's grown up pretty good, so you don't really see it right away when you ride by. So it was some neighbors on the back side of the house that called it in initially.